Welcome to TK's Diaries. Today, I'm in the hospital, but I have visitors that I want to share with you. Miss Cheryl Cooper, who is Stephanie, I always say it wrong, Dorangus' mother. So, I'm going to let Miss Cheryl talk about what she goes through, and she lives with sickle cell disease, and she also has the trait as well.
It's not a black and white disease. You can't say if this, then treat it this way, because each time is different. And what can start out this time, the same way it started last time, take a totally different direction. There have been episodes that I watched Stephanie go through where she starts out with her back hurts, and then the next thing we know, she can't walk because her leg, this pain started out in her back, but maybe in her chest, has affected her legs, or the time when it struck her arms, her hands, and she couldn't do anything with her arms. It was a temporary paralysis. And the treatment for that time was not the same treatment that she needed for the last time. And the way that it comes on without warning, and by the time you know that you're going into crisis, you're already so far gone that home meds won't take care of it. If you can get to the hospital in time enough to have IV fluids for a while and try to maybe get some IV drugs, well, that's taking a stab at it. But with the way that the emergency rooms operate, by the time you get that first dose of medication, you're in full-blown crisis mode. And guess what? That's an admission, because you can't get what you need at home to keep you comfortable, just enough to let it pass. The treatment does not progress the crisis so that it passes quicker. The treatment is just to palliate until the crisis passes on its own. And it's one of those things that your body gets attacked, but then your body has to have the time that it needs, and the medication and the fluids and all of the other things that come with that to heal. This time now, for example, when I got an email from you saying you were in the hospital, I'm thinking, what is the likelihood now that everybody in that sickle cell community is either at the hospital already or on the way, because they're all going into cycles and crises at the same time. Being discharged. It's a cycle. And typically, you guys center around each other and they're outside. That's one of those things. You can't avoid that. You can't do anything about the barometric pressure. There's a hurricane hitting some other part of the country, but the downwind effects is causing your body to fail you in such a way that you got to go in and get what you need in order to live. But the pain you can't contain it. You can't say this is the general standard treatment for sickle cell, because each time is different. And nobody understands that. If you don't live in that sickle world, you do not understand it. I can speak to it from the outside looking in, because I'm a caregiver and I've been a caretaker, and I've raised a child with sickle cell and I've watched the effects of it. But everything that I came to know about it was not anything that a textbook showed me or that a doctor told me. It was what I learned through trial and error and watching my child grow up with that, living with that. At one point in time, Stephanie said she felt like Alf. You remember Alf, the little alien? She felt like she was in a world all of her own, because she's the only one in our family who actually has the disease. And none of her peers, there's not a common peer group that shared the disease with her up until now, when as she's older and she's coming into contact with a support group and more people in the sickle cell community. But she felt like Alf. And when she found out there was a support group and a community, she's like, I know this must be how Alf would feel if he found out there were other aliens like him on Earth. Because that's what you live in, a world that I'm really not even a part of your world. I exist in your world because of my role. But if I were not connected to her, that would be another world of darkness to me. I wouldn't know anything about it. And it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to try to explain to someone who's on the outside. And I work with people who seek to understand. but I can never fully express or explain what it's like in the sickle world. I can't. It's a world all its own.
So Stephanie, what is sickle world for you?
To piggyback on what she just said, it's I'm a small fish in a big pond. You know, and there are others like me, but it took a while to find it, and I'm still learning myself because 3 years ago this wasn't the case. I wasn't in the hospital this much, but 3 months ago, life was upside down, and so what I thought I knew and what worked for me then obviously does not work now. I went off to school after being an athlete, after dancing, after traveling with theater and acting, and I guess the environment, the stress, a lot of factors played into the situation, but I'm still learning for myself what it is that I need, and I have to go off of I've learned to listen to my body. I started medicating before this admission 2 days before I got here, and it just slowly turned and snowballed into something else.
That was Stephanie and her mom Cheryl. And as you hear and see, everybody is different within the sickle cell community. We all handle the pain crisis differently. We all go through pain crisis differently. Some people can handle it mentally and talk to their body. Some people try to use herbs and other things to help with the pain. Then there are those of us who come to the hospital because we've tried everything that we could at home and nothing else is working. I spent 10 hours yesterday in the emergency room screaming, crying, and they put the security guards at my door because I was frustrated and hurting and feeling like somebody had taken my veins, like it was a wet shirt, and just wringing my veins. I couldn't use my hands, and my hands are still hurting. I can't walk right now. This is the first time ever, and this is so embarrassing to me, but I said I would make my life transparent so that people can learn about this disease. Today was my first time sitting on a no, it's not. I take that back. Sitting on a bedside pot to use the bathroom. I had to do that when my stomach was cut wide open because of sickle cell. But just going through a crisis, I never had to sit on a bedside commode and have to get help to sit onto. That's how serious this disease is. And because on the outward, and I say this all the time, our outward appearance does not reflect what's going on inside. And if you could just, what fruit do we do inside out? Like an orange. If you have an orange, you can do it inside out, push the stuff outside. Yeah, the peel. Just think of that inside being all black and rotted. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit of what goes on in the hospital, which is where we are today. And just know that sickle cell disease is a for real disease, and it is very much alive, and it affects so many people. Ask me how you can help us. This is your girl, Tina K. Until next time.